Hello, Virgo. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dunn. I hope that's focusing. Hope it is. Supportive Oracle cards. Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. Stacy. Good. I think it was on the Sagittarius one. I think I messed it up, but I fixed it at the same time. I don't know. This is Virgo. Okay. The first thing I'm coming into is something that came across your path, a change or situation that came across your path recently, seems fairly recently, that you were very unhappy about. Looks like it's going to turn more in your favor. You've got the realization, so something came forward. There's realization on your side, realizing something's not right. The piece with the acceptance is telling me it wasn't like a 4-alarm fire, like you had to run, but whatever it was, you had to take care of fairly quickly. But you didn't have to, it wasn't like a 4-alarm fire. But I'm getting the piece is a very interesting situation because I'm getting kind of like something was a problem and it just kind of slipped in under the radar. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, this actually is a problem. And then when you realize that that's the realization, literally the realization, you seem to accept it, and I'm feeling the acceptance in the environment. Like, you also got help for it pretty quickly. The change came in that you had to do, and you did not like that. Like, whatever the problem was, you were not happy about this problem. It's something slipped in under the radar, and that's when you realized it was there. It's like, oh, this isn't going to work. But the pleasure of this is the support, because I know this is very... The fact that you have pleasure with the Ten of Swords, that doesn't make sense usually. But what I'm getting here is when the change came in, you were very unhappy about that. When you realized what was going on, the fact that it was there was you weren't happy with. You were devastated that it was actually happening. But the support that you got from it showed the support you saw you had around you and other people rallying around you. That's like the pleasure. It's kind of like, even though the situation is bad, seeing who's there for you, seeing who's looking out for you, seeing who cares about you. That's like the silver lining to the bad situation. Now the first part comes in really, it just seems to come in quickly. Now what comes in next is there's boundaries, but the Princess of Wands is telling me whatever the support or situation, like something's slowly fixing this. This can't be fixed in 2 seconds is what I'm getting. It takes a process, it takes some time. Once you get into the healing of it or the correcting of it or the fixing of this or handling of this, it was a slow but steady thing. As soon as you started it, as soon as you realized what was happening, you had to plan for what to do next. And then you kind of seem to accept it right off the bat. They're like, this is going to take some time. I'm going to have to work at this for a while, and let's see how it goes. The Princess of Wands is the Page of Wands, is the Page of Fire, which is telling me there's a natural flow to this situation where it just keeps going. It's self-perpetuating. Boundaries is telling me you'd like to get this just taken care of. This is one of those times where if there's just a quick fix, you would have done it. You would have tried it. You're like, yeah, I don't really... But the thing is, you don't really trust quick fixes is what I'm also getting. Virgos don't usually trust quick fixes. That's not usually your jam. Kind of like, if it's really going to be something that's going to last and going to stick, it usually takes a minute to put it together. Anything worth the time is worth the wait. Something like that. Anything worth the time is worth the wait. That makes sense. All right. But when this came in with the boundaries and the self-perpetuation, you had the Ace of Pentacles with the beauty. Now what I'm getting with the beauty card is like seeing the beauty in a bad situation. Having an optimistic moment, even though the situation is not looking great, but still it looks hopeful. And you're going down that road. Kind of like, I'm going to do my best with it. This is what I was handed. This is what I have to deal with. The Ace of Pentacles is, again, slow but steady wins the race. I might be starting behind the 8 ball, whatever that means. I'm not really good at pool, so that's a saying. I might be starting in a position where it looks like I'm destined to lose. but I'm not giving up. I need a moment to move things around. It was very stressful at this point. Even though you were optimistic, it's kind of like I just got to make that first step. And every step after that, I'll just hold my ground. I'll keep moving. I'll keep pushing. I'll keep holding. I'll keep pushing. And I just won't give up. Earth signs are good at that, holding strong and not giving up. So I'm seeing this is working fairly well at this point. The start was pretty good. Self-reflection and surrender. This is another reason why you're handling this well. You're surrendering to what you can't fix, to whatever you can't change quickly. You're like, well, that's some of this I can't handle today. But you know what? I'll start handling the smaller things, and I'll build up to it. I will build up to it, and when I'm stronger, I'll handle that, and I'll do that too. I just got to build up my resistance, got to build up my strength. I'll make this happen. Self-reflection and surrender is kind of like, I need some time to get this together. I need some time to be able to really get this back where it should go. Your will, literally your will is pushing you through on this. This is turning around because of your attitude. Like this is, it's almost like, I said this in a different reading today. I don't remember which one. I think it was one of the water ones. It's kind of like people looking at the term being stubborn and automatically assuming it's a bad word. It's not. It's kind of like sometimes you need to be stubborn because it works to your benefit. And this is where you're being stubborn, like I'm not giving up. I'm putting one foot in front of the other. Other people may not even have, other people don't have to believe in me, even though you do have a lot of support here is what I'm getting. But that's not what you're holding on to. You're just kind of like, I just refuse to not fix this. I refuse to give in. I refuse to accept defeat. I'm not going to do it. Even if it has a couple setbacks, I don't care. I'm not backing off. I'm not giving up. And it does get defiant like that. It does have a stubborn feel to it. This is one of those times when being stubborn is working to your advantage. Is there anything else I got to say about that part? Because we got some more coming in. I just feel like you're using a natural attribute of Earth to your advantage. And that's the whole point of like figuring out our signs and what are the natural attributes of our signs and the energy we naturally have and using that to its best advantage. And right now you're doing that is what I'm getting. Faith, Two of Cups, Seven of Pentacles. People are standing beside you. They have faith that this is going to work out. Literally, they feel like your attitude is really making this look better. And some people think when they look at you, they think you're kind of bullshitting it. Or I said it, so there you go. They do. They think you're just full of it. But they're kind of like, well, I'm not going to knock the Virgo down. I'm not going to knock them down. I think they're BSing it a little bit. So I guess we'll just roll with it. They just think you're full of it. But they're not calling you out on it. The thing is, you're not full of it. You're going to actually succeed. That's the thing. The faith here is kind of like, they're going to gain more faith over time. Because then, like, the faith card is here. They need to have a little bit more faith. I feel like they'd like it to be true, but they don't believe it. But you're going to show them that, no, it was true. It was always true. I'm getting, for whoever this is that's in your life, when I feel the faith card, the honest truth I'm getting of that is not faith now, but faith later. Kind of like, they don't really believe that you're really on point with this. Like they think you're giving a line. Like you're just saying this is going to work out, but they don't really believe you. And then down the road where they see like that's what you said was going to happen, and that's literally what happened. That's going to show them, like when the Virgo you says something and says, like they might not believe it, but they don't have to believe it. You're still going to pull through because that's what you do. So I almost feel like that's what I'm feeling with the faith card. I'm also seeing a couple other cards here. Like they're not trying to be negative. I feel like the reason they don't believe in you and they think you're kind of full of it is basically this card. It's the fear card. They're just afraid this isn't going to work out the way it needs to. They're afraid for you, but that's another reason why they're not questioning you or trying to knock you down, being like you're full of it. They're not going to say that because they're more afraid that you're wrong. They're more afraid that you're putting up like this front as if it's going to work out, and they don't believe you. It's fear-based. For them, it's fear-based, and the Seven of Swords along with, is that the Seven? It's the Six of Swords with the Prince of Swords. They want to move on from these troubled waters. They don't want to question it. They want to believe in you, but they just don't believe that it's going to work out. So I feel like they're just avoiding the conversation, too. That's what I'm getting with the Six of Swords. They're just kind of avoiding the conversation. They don't really want to have it. I love it when this part happens. You have the King of Cups. The King of Cups. The King of Cups is somebody who, their emotions see them through. And this is one of those times where your emotions are determination and follow through and stubbornness, but stubbornness to your advantage. Again, it's an earth trait, and people tend to look at it in a negative light, but I'm telling you, in this situation, you're moving it into your advantage, you're using it to your advantage, and you're holding to it to your advantage. This is something like you're the king. You're the king of emotions in the sense of like, this is working for me, I'm not giving up, I'm going to be stubborn with this, and you're realizing I'm going to keep being stubborn with this, because the more stubborn I am with it, the better of the outcome I get. You're creating a better atmosphere around you too. You're pulling other people towards you. There might be somebody around you that needs to be a little bit more optimistic about their own life. I really don't think you're trying to be like that shining example or that role model, that positive role model. I don't think that's really your motivation, but it seems to be something that's happening. I just wouldn't negate it out. Like if somebody else can gain courage from your story and your actions, and they can find, since you were able to keep going and stand up and keep going through it and succeed through it, and if that gives them the courage and the strength to stand up for themselves and also do that road, just don't negate it out. You don't have to worry about it or anything. Just don't negate it out is what I'm getting, because you're being a shining example and getting other people to feel like all they got to do is hold on. All they got to do is keep fighting. If they just keep going and keep going, if I just keep going like the Virgo did, I can have a good outcome too, because the Virgo is doing really well. Just don't negate it out. That's all I'm getting. You don't have to like be a cheerleader for anybody else. I wouldn't worry about it. Just don't negate it out and you'll be fine. Like if somebody says, you're pretty awesome, you made it through that, and I don't know how you did it, but you're pretty impressive. Just say thank you and move on. Don't negate it out. Just thank you and move on. Because I feel like a lot of you are going to be uncomfortable. Like you're not going to like hearing it. It's going to make you feel weird. Thank you. Move on. Just don't negate it out. If somebody else can get strength from your story, let them get that strength. Now, the situation to other people, or is it stagnating? It's going to plateau. Whatever it is, it's going to plateau. But I feel like it feels like you were expecting this for some reason. Kind of like you knew at one point it would just kind of plateau for a while, and then it would, and it's just like how long before it finishes off and finishes. But there's a plateau mark. And you have the Ten of Pentacles, how you're feeling about it. Kind of like the situation was down here. It wasn't doing that good when you found it. You got it up to here. It needs to go like way up here. That's where it needs to go to be done. But you got it like it was down here. You got it up to here. It just kind of plateaus right here. Needs to be like out of frame up here to be done. But you're like, well, I got it this far. It's kind of holding there. It's not regressing. And it's kind of like one of those things, all I do is keep fighting, and it'll start moving up again. Even if it's slowly, it'll start moving up again. And you have faith in that, and you're correct. I feel like you are correct. It's almost like you might have had that sixth sense saying, it's going to go so far, and it's going to plateau. Just wait for a while. It might hold on for a long while, but at some point it will start moving up again. It will get even better. You just got to wait it out. And I feel like, again, the stubborn attitude, well, I can wait it out. I'm not going to back off. The situation itself has the Eight of Swords with the Hanged Man. It's not moving forward. It doesn't seem like switching gears or switching lanes or switching paths, changing a different way of doing this. It doesn't seem like that really serves you, because it feels like if I change paths, there's a lot here I did to get me this far. And if I switch from it, I might erode what I've already done, and it might set the whole situation back. So it's like I'm just going to stay the steady line, stay where I am. It may have plateaued, but sooner or later it'll move again. It's just kind of like you got to wait for it to go do whatever it needs to do, then it'll start moving again. It may plateau for a good amount of time, though. But I'm getting this is where your stubborn attitude kicks in, and you're going to do well. Other people are going to notice you plateau, and that's fine, because they're more watching how you just don't give up. And as long as it doesn't regress, it's kind of like, well, it's not regressing. If this is where I have to hold the line for now, then this is where I have to hold the line for now. And you're very strong. I feel like you're very strong saying, it'll keep going. It'll get better at some point. I just got to wait it out. I'll be here. I'll just keep going. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and it will progress at some point. Now, what I'm getting here with the Four of Cups is that you are doing well, but I feel like other people, again, they're having a hard time, and they're nervous, kind of like the Virgo just keeps fighting and fighting and fighting. They don't lose, but they don't win. And I feel like that's what they're getting stuck on that little detail. But the thing is, by not losing, you're still technically winning in that moment. Until you've flat out failed completely, you're still winning in that moment. So it's kind of like, I don't feel like it's like there's a finish line, like there's literally a spot you're going to win. But it's almost like you're succeeding as long as you're not failing. And at this point, I feel like that's how you're looking at it. I'm still succeeding as long as I'm not failing. And you're not regressing, so you're not failing. And you might have to like talk to that a little bit to give somebody else some courage, kind of like, as long as I'm not regressing, I'm still succeeding. Are you good? We're good. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.